After an inspiring and insightful day one, where we explored the changing global space landscape, we now move forward to a theme that lies at the very heart of the future space economy, that is collaboration. Because the next era of space will not be defined by individual capability alone, it will be defined by a collective capacity. It will be shaped by how nations cooperate, how industries partner, and how regulators align, how institutions share knowledge, and how emerging and established space powers work together to build a safer, more inclusive, and more sustainable space future. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we now commence with the proceedings of the inaugural session, once again requesting for all mobile phones to be kept on to silent mode. Namaskar and good morning. It is my privilege to welcome you to Day 2 of India Space Congress 2026, being held under the theme Reinventing Collaboration in Space. Yesterday, we reflected on the transformation of the global space landscape, a landscape which is being reshaped by new technologies, new business models, new actors, new markets, and new strategic realities. Today, we turn our attention to the force that will determine how this transformation unfolds: collaboration. No single country, no single institution, and no single company can unlock the full potential of the space alone. The challenges before us are complex: space sustainability, orbital congestion, spectrum coordination, climate resilience, disaster response, secure communications, responsible use of space, equitable access to technology, and capacity building all require coordinated global action. At the same time, the opportunities are immense. Satellite connectivity can bring digital divides, Earth observation can strengthen climate action and disaster preparedness. Navigation systems can support mobility, logistics, agriculture, and national development. Space science can expand human knowledge. This is why collaboration in space must now be reinvented. It must move beyond symbolic engagement to practical partnerships, beyond bilateral dialogue to multi-stakeholder cooperation, beyond technology exchange to co-development, co-investment, and shared capacity building. Ladies and gentlemen, India's space journey has always reflected a deep commitment to using space for national development and global good. Today, as India emerges as a dynamic and trusted space power, it is also becoming an important partner in shaping an inclusive global space ecosystem. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to formally begin the session, we will begin with the ceremonial lamp lighting. And I have the proud privilege in inviting for the lamp lighting ceremony Dr. Subbarao Pavuluri, President SIA-INDIA, His Excellency Mr. Christian Beaver, Ambassador of Luxembourg to India, Dr. Pavanji K. Goenka, Chairman InSpace, and Mr. Anil Prakash, Director General SIA-INDIA. Ladies and gentlemen, it is ceremonial in our country to begin every auspicious occasion with the lamp lighting, where we invoke the gods and goddesses and seek their blessings for the success of our endeavors. It is said that each wick being lit and passed from one to another symbolizes the sharing of knowledge. Each wick being lit today is a prayer for global peace, solidarity, and of course, our collaboration for the space. A group photograph, please. And a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the ceremonial opening of the inaugural session of Day 2 of India Space Congress 2026. I would request our dignitaries to kindly take their seats on the dais. Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, the honorable presence of distinguished leaders from international organizations, diplomatic missions, national institutions and industry at today's inaugural session reflects the shared importance of this vision. I would now request Dr. Subbarao Pavuluri, President SIA-INDIA, to kindly do the honors of welcoming and felicitating our distinguished dignitaries with the ceremonial shawl and a floral bouquet. We welcome His Excellency Mr. Christian Bieber, Ambassador of Luxembourg to India. We are honored to have you here with us, sir. A very warm welcome to you. Thank you. And we are honored to welcome Dr. Pavan K. Goenka, Chairman in Space. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin day 2 on the theme, Reinventing Collaboration in Space, for the welcome address, I have the privilege to invite Dr. Subbarao Pavuluri, President SIA-INDIA. Dr. Pavuluri is a respected industry leader and a pioneering voice in India's private space sector. Let's put our hands together to welcome sir.
Namaskar. Good morning to everybody. See, there is one Purana in your Veda, it said that always we should come together. Let us speak together. Let our minds work together in pursuit of common goals for common purpose. Today, the conference we are talking about reimaging the entire space sector. So that means we are looking forward for something collaborative in this sector. In this regard, InSpace has been playing a very vital role in bringing people together and industry together, and also companies across the globe together. So in this connection, the Honorable Ambassador for Luxembourg, I'm sure he will touch upon many subjects related to how to collaborate between India and the rest of the world. Sure, sir. Welcome you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, for those warm words of welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to the first special address of the inaugural session. Luxembourg has emerged as one of the most forward-looking space nations in the world, with a strong focus on space resources, satellite communications, commercial space innovation, and international partnerships. Despite its size, Luxembourg has demonstrated how clear policy vision, strong regulatory frameworks, industry participation, and global collaborations can position a nation as a significant player in the global space economy. India and Luxembourg share opportunities for operation across satellite communications, space innovation, commercial partnerships, research, investment, and also for emerging technologies. At a time when global space collaboration is becoming increasingly important, Luxembourg's experience offers valuable insights into how nations can build competitive and collaborative space ecosystems. And we are honored to have with us His Excellency Mr. Christian Bieber, Ambassador of Luxembourg, India. May I invite you, sir, for the special address.
Thank you. Mr. President, Mr. Chairman of InSpace, Mr. Director General, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, when we speak about the future of space, our minds often turn to the largest nations, the biggest launch capabilities, or the most ambitious exploration programs. But is that really what determines success in the space economy of the 21st century? Is it only about the number of rockets or the size of space missions that we launch? Or do we speak about connectivity, data, innovation, resilience, regulatory frameworks, and partnerships? I think that in this new environment, size is not destiny. Vision is, focus is, partnership is, collaboration is. And that is why the experience of Luxembourg, even though a very small country, may be relevant far beyond our borders, including here in India. Luxembourg may be a small country on the map of Europe, but for more than 4 decades, it has been a significant actor in the global space economy. Not because we sought to compete with the largest space powers, but because we chose to specialize, to innovate, and to create conditions in which space business could thrive. Today, space is no longer a distant frontier. It is part of our daily lives, powering communications, enabling navigation, supporting climate monitoring, strengthening security, and connecting communities across the world. And increasingly, it's also about economic growth. Luxembourg entered the space sector already in the early 80s with a bold and unconventional decision, namely to invest in satellite communications. At the time, few would have imagined that a country of Luxembourg's size could become a global space player. Yet, that decision led to the creation of SES, Société Européenne des Satellites, which today is one of the world's leading satellite operators. SES operates a global fleet of satellites delivering television, broadband internet, and secure communication across continents. Millions of people, including here in India, use services every day that depend on SES satellite capacities, often without even knowing it. It is that early decision that Luxembourg transformed into one of the pioneers of commercial space, long before the term new space was born. And today our objective is clear: to maintain our leadership in satellite communication while expanding our space capabilities and creating new commercial opportunities. Over the past decade, Luxembourg has built a thriving space ecosystem. As of 2026, there are more than 80 public, private, and academic actors which are active across the entire space value chain. This dynamic growth reflects a deliberate strategy. And Luxembourg is pursuing the development of the space sector as a key pillar of economic diversification and long-term sustainability, with the Luxembourg Space Agency playing a central role in supporting innovation and enabling new products and services. At the heart of our approach lies a clear priority: to support companies in developing their space business across both hardware and software domains, starting from the manufacture of components for satellites to advanced digital and data-driven applications. So a strong emphasis is placed on the commercialization of space, and Luxembourg supports its ecosystem and through an international collaboration with other actors and also with the European Space Agency. Luxembourg was one of the first members of the European Space Agency, and today we participate very actively in their program. We have also positioned ourselves at the forefront of emerging space domains. A key milestone in this regard was the launch of Space Resources initiative in 2016, through which Luxembourg became a pioneer in exploring and in the exploration and sustainable utilization of space resources. In 2017, we reinforced this vision by adopting a dedicated legal framework, making Luxembourg the first country in Europe and the second worldwide to provide a legal framework for the ownership and use of space resources extracted in space. And to further advance research and innovation, in 2020, the Luxembourg Space Agency, together with the European Space Agency, we have established a European Space Resources Innovation Center called ESRIC. This center is becoming a European hub for the development of technologies that enable the sustainable and responsible use of space resources in close collaboration with both public and private partners. Luxembourg is also investing in the future through the development of talent. Initiatives such as Interdisciplinary Space Master at the University of Luxembourg aim to create a skilled workforce capable of supporting the continued growth of the sector. And mobility of talents and exchange of experience is another field that is very interesting for international collaboration. And we have explored here in India ways how we could collaborate in that field. So our overall vision is guided by Luxembourg's space strategy for 2023 to 2027, which is built around sustainability, innovation, and international partnerships. International cooperation is also at the very core of our policy. In a small and open economy, partnerships are not an option, they are essential. Fostering collaboration is one of the key missions of our space agency, and Luxembourg is actively engaged in both bilateral and multilateral initiatives worldwide. In this context, our partnership with India is of a particular importance. Luxembourg and India established a strong framework for cooperation through a Memorandum of Understanding that we signed in 2022. And since then, collaboration between our space agency and InSpace has continued to grow. We had virtual industry days organized in 2023, and regular exchanges take also place, notably in the margin of international events. This cooperation is delivering already tangible results. And on the industry side, our satellite company SIA provides critical satellite capacity to Indian broadcasters, and it plays an important role in expanding high-speed satellite broadband and enterprise connectivity across the country. The opening of the SAS office in Chennai in April 25 demonstrates another long-term commitment of Luxembourg's space sector with India. And this is only the beginning. There are significant opportunities to deepen collaboration between our ecosystems. And in this period, I'm very happy to be here and to reach out to you to further strengthen the collaboration between our countries. We see also strong potential in areas such as telecommunication, lunar exploration, and space resource utilization. We welcome further exchanges, not only between our institutions, but also across our private sectors and research communities. And we are working on sending a delegation of space companies to India. And I'm in discussion with both the chairman and also Mr. President, Dr. Grenka, and I look very much forward to organizing joint event in near future. We also intend to participate in upcoming events such as the Bengaluru Space Expo, as well as future visits, including in beginning of next year, where we will have valuable opportunities to further strengthen our partnership. In the end, I would like to say that the future of space economy will be defined by our ability to innovate, to invest, but above all, to work together. Luxembourg stands ready to contribute to a space ecosystem that is innovative, sustainable, and commercially dynamic. And we look forward to continuing this journey together with India. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Your Excellency, for your insightful address and especially for sharing Luxembourg's perspective on the global space cooperation and the importance of international partnerships in the evolving space economy. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move ahead with the proceedings of the opening ceremony of Day 2, I have a very, very special announcement to make. I thought this was the best time to get your attention. Ladies and gentlemen, SIA-INDIA is taking space industry delegations to space-tied Japan from 6th to 8th of July 2026. We would request all our delegates, guests, dignitaries who are interested in taking part in this event may kindly contact SIA-INDIA Secretariat, Mr. Ambalagan, or you can also contact the SIA-INDIA booth. Thank you very much indeed. And now moving ahead with the next special address, UNOOSA, UNOOSA, plays a vital role in promoting international cooperation in the peaceful uses of outer space. It supports countries in accessing the benefits of space science technology and applications, while also advancing dialogue on space sustainability, capacity building, legal frameworks, and responsible space activities. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have the honor of listening from a distinguished global leader whose work is central to international cooperation in outer space, Ms. Aarti Hola Mani, Director, United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs, UNOOSA, who unfortunately could not be present here in person, but we have a recorded message from her. Can we play the recorded message, please?
Excellencies, distinguished ministers, colleagues from the space industry and international community, ladies and gentlemen, namaste. It is a great honor to address you at the 5th India Space Congress. And I want to begin by thanking Anil, Rajiv and the entire SIA-INDIA team for their generous invitation and for building this Congress into one of the most important gatherings in the global space calendar. I'm sorry I'm not with you in person on this occasion. While this important event takes place in New Delhi, here in Vienna we are also having important discussions right now as COPUS, the Multilateral Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space, which is currently taking place here. COPUS sessions are a moment to hear about what different UN member states are doing in space. And when it comes to India, we are living through a remarkable moment in its space story. From the moment Chandrayaan-3 touched down near the lunar South Pole, a place that no mission had ever reached before, India did not simply join a club of spacefaring nations. India redefined who that club is for. Mangalyaan, having seen the unbroken record of the PSLV and now the rapid rise of the Indian commercial space ecosystem that is growing faster than anyone predicted, even 5 years ago. These are not incremental milestones. They are signals of a civilizational shift. India is no longer watching the space economy take shape. India is helping to write it. We are in the most transformative period in the history of space since the 1960s. The critical difference is this. In the 60s, space was the domain of 2 superpowers. Today, it is the domain of thousands of actors, governments, startups, corporations, research institutions across more than 80 countries. This democratization of space is, at its core, a force for good. It means that weather data reaches farmers in Bihar and Burkina Faso. It means connectivity, bridging the last mile in the Amazon and in the Andes. It means Earth observation, giving climate scientists data that they could only have dreamed of a decade ago. But, and I say this as someone who has spent her career at the intersection of industry and international governance, with this democratization comes a profound and urgent responsibility. The orbital environment around our planet is a finite and shared resource. Let's be clear. While today there are approximately 10,000 active satellites in orbit, projections suggest that this number could exceed 100,000 by the early 2030s. Some projections are even higher. We are adding satellites faster than we are developing the frameworks, norms, and technical standards to manage them responsibly. The consequences of getting this wrong are not abstract. Orbital debris already threatens operational satellites. A major collision event could render critical orbital bands unusable for generations. It would shut down GPS, weather forecasting, emergency communications, and financial clearing systems. The lives of billions of people who have never seen a rocket depend on the safety of the orbital environment. These are collective action problems, challenges that no nation, no company, and no visionary entrepreneur can solve alone. They demand that we act together as stewards of our shared space. Outer space belongs to all of humanity. That is not a sentiment, it's the law enshrined in the Outer Space Treaty of 1967. The question for our generation is whether we will honour that inheritance or squander it. At UNUSA, we are working urgently on exactly this question. The Long-Term Sustainability Guidelines of 2019, agreed by consensus within COCOS, represent the most comprehensive multilateral framework we have. But guidelines are only as powerful as the commitments behind them. We are building capacity across the global south. We are working with 130 member states to help them develop national space policies, space laws, and space agencies. We are convening dialogues on space situational awareness, spectrum coordination, and debris mitigation. And we are making the case every day that space must not become the privilege of a few. Space must remain a shared resource, a shared responsibility, and a shared opportunity as well. This brings me what I believe is the single most important theme of this Congress, the role of emerging space nations, of the global south, as architects of the new space order, not merely as beneficiaries. For too long, the narrative has been that developing nations are recipients of space-derived services, and yes, they benefit enormously. But that framing misses something fundamental. The countries of the global south are also nations most exposed to climate change, to natural disasters, to the disruptions that a broken orbital environment would cause. They have the most at stake, and increasingly, they have the capacity to act. India is proof of that, not only in its own achievements, but in what India offers its neighbours and partners through the SARC satellite, through Israel's capacity building programs, through India's most successful UN-affiliated Centre for Space Science and Technology Education in Asia-Pacific, and through the governance frameworks that New Delhi is helping to shape in the international forum. India has a unique role to play as a bridge between the technologically advanced space powers and the nations who are still finding their footing, between the pace of commercial innovation and the patience required for effective diplomacy, and between national ambition and global responsibility. In a multipolar world where geopolitical tensions are fracturing international cooperation across many domains, India's ability to convene, listen, and build consensus is genuinely precious. Do not underestimate it. The question before this Congress is therefore not whether the space economy will grow. It will. The real question is how do we ensure it grows in a way that is equitable, sustainable, and governed in the interests of all humanity. I would suggest three things that we need to prioritize. First, trusted governance. The rapid growth of the commercial space sector must be matched by robust national legislation, transparent international norms, and inclusive multilateral frameworks. Innovation without governance is not progress, it is risk. Second, inclusive capability. We must invest not only in satellites and platforms, but in people, institutions, and policy frameworks across all regions. The future of the space economy will not be determined only by those who own the most advanced technology. It will be shaped by those who can convert technology into public value. Third, international cooperation. No country can manage the orbit environment alone. No country can address climate change alone. No country can protect the integrity of global positioning, Earth observation, or orbital sustainability alone. In an interconnected world, national ambition and international cooperation are not opposites. They are mutually reinforcing. Distinguished colleagues, I came to this role at UNUSA having spent many years, nearly 3 decades, in the satellite industry, building businesses, navigating markets, and closing deals. And I thought I understood space. But what this role has taught me more than anything else is the scale of what becomes possible when space is truly put in the service of people. UNUSA has met meteorologists in Bangladesh who use satellite data to give fishermen 48 extra hours of warning before a cyclone. We have met school teachers in rural Kenya whose students are connecting to the internet for the first time via satellite. We have met disaster response teams who reached earthquake survivors because satellites told them exactly where to look. Space is not about rockets. Space is about people. And the choices that we make, whether they're made in this room, in boardrooms, in parliaments, or in UN committees, about how we build a space economy, how we govern it, and how we share its benefits, these considerations will shape the lives of billions of people who will never attend a space congress, and who will never watch a launch, and who will never know how much they depend on what surfaces silently in the orbits above them. That is the weight of our responsibility. That is the magnitude of our opportunity. India Space Congress, I hope you will do justice to that opportunity. Please deliberate boldly, decide wisely, and help build a space future that all humanity can be proud of. Thank you. Dhanyavad.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to convey our thanks to Mrs. Aarti Hora Mani through SIA-INDIA for her thoughtful and a very, very inspiring address we had from her. In Space has emerged as a key institution in India's space reforms, enabling and promoting the participation of private players in the country's space sector. As India seeks to deepen international partnerships, strengthen commercial capabilities, and expand its role in the global space economy, InSpace will continue to play a vital role in connecting policy and technology and, of course, all the opportunities. And ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Pavan K. Goenka, Chairman InSpace, leadership has been instrumental in providing strategic direction to this transition and creating an enabling environment for innovation, industry participation, and public-private collaboration. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the proud privilege in inviting Dr. Pavan K. Goenka to kindly deliver the special address. Let's put our hands together to welcome sir.
Good morning. I couldn't agree more with what Ms. Aarti Mani has said. I think we all need to introspect on the points that she has made. His Excellency, Ambassador of Luxembourg, Mr. Christian Beaver, Dr. Subbarao, Anil, thank you, SIA, for inviting me here today. I would first like to say that we are very happy, Ambassador, for all the initiatives that you are taking for cooperation between Luxembourg companies and Indian companies, and InSpace will work with you very closely on all the points that we discussed last week. Just last week, InSpace had its 10th IIC, InSpace Industry Connect conference in Ahmedabad, where over 400 CXOs, founders, investors, and policymakers gathered for 2 days for frank conversation about where the sector stands and what it must do next. Subbarao was there, Anil was there, many of you were there. So this feels to me more like a continuation of the conversation that we were having last week, and I would like to build on that and pick up the thread from where we left off. But before we do that, the world in the space sector has changed between 11th last week and today with the launch of SpaceX IPO. And I think the benchmarks, the aspirations that all founders have and all investors have is a lot different today than it was just a week ago. Imagine $1.75 trillion valuation at IPO and 40% premium just in one day to that IPO is something that I think we all will be looking forward to very soon. And unfortunately, $1 billion valuation now looks like a decimal point somewhere. So I think we have a lot more to look forward to. Just to reflect on IIC 10, our CXO roundtable that happened, the theme was second stage ignition. The message was simple but important. In 5 years, India's private sector has built some capability, some capacity, some infrastructure, some technology. Skyroot built the rocket, for example. Agnikul built the engine. Pixel is building the constellation. Skyroot is building, Digantra is doing space surveillance. Setsure and many other companies are building applications. The first stage, ignition, has happened successfully. But as we all know, in space, successful first stage in a launch vehicle is no guarantee of a successful second stage. And we have just fired the second stage engine, and now the second stage has to succeed. In this conference, the industry meet that we had last week, what industry told us and what we are doing about it is what I'll try and build on, and also copy a few things or carry forward a few things that I mentioned last week. The industry has given us 1 year worth of homework in the 2 days that we spent with them. And some of the homework problems that they've given us, we may not be even able to solve, but we'll try. Across 5 IIC 10 sessions, industry was refreshingly direct. Pawan Chandana of Skyroot distilled the roundtable to 5 themes on day 2. And Anil, you also sharpened many of the points in your address last week. Let me walk through some of the points that were made. Your voice. Government must be the anchor customer, visibly, at scale. You said Government of India procurement must be predictable, Indian satellite data must be mandated across departments, and demand discovery pilots must run in every sector. Our response, the EOPPP that was launched last year at a 1,200 crore plus private sector commitment behind it is first truly private sector built national EO network, exists for this reason only. The announcement opportunity links in space seed funding to confirmed government procurement, with 15 grantees selected already. 10 SAWs have been conducted to bring the users closer to the developers. Many of you are building the SBS satellites. More opportunities will be coming your way. The direction is right. I agree, though, that the pace has to accelerate. Number 2, your voice. Authorization must be stable, published, digital, and keep pace with technology. You asked for clear timelines and SLAs, paper to digital, constellation level authorization rather than satellite by satellite, and proactive policy on D2D, HAPS, and lunar activity. Our response, we are totally revamping the IDP. Authorization norms are operational. We are simplifying the process and timelines. NGP 2.0 is being worked upon. The Space Activities Act, long called for and equally important to us, is being moved very urgently. Many guidelines, such as SSA, local content, re-entry, safety and security, are almost ready. Dr. Jain is here. He is working on most of these things. Your voice, number 3. In space must be the true single window and the voice of industry across government. Authorization is not the finish line. Service activation is. A company can clear in space and still be held up at DOT, WPC, MHA, or customs. Our response, the single window SC-IMC mechanism, where 9 departments come together every month in one interface, is operational. But lot more needs to be done to ensure that you don't have to knock on multiple doors. We are working on that. Anil, you called for formal in-space registration certificate on the DPIIT model to cut weeks of government interactions. We already announced in the IIC itself, also working on moving the Indian Space Gateway portal towards a one-stop digital interface for all space-related info. Number 4, your voice. Build the financial ecosystem in parallel with the technical one. You asked for risk capital, space insurance, MOQ-based procurement, GST relief, classification of space systems in the harmonized list to unlock bank debt, and a sovereign co-investment risk-sharing pool. I guess you have not left anything, asked for everything. But anyways, our response. The 1,000 crore Antriksh VC fund managed by Sidbi Venture is operational and has made its first announcement last week of investment in a private sector company. Three more are near completion, hopefully will be done in the next month or so. The 500 crore Technology Adoption Fund has now announced the first 3 awardees. The dedicated 900 crore R&D fund for academic institutions is in the pipeline. In fact, this is the largest sector-specific R&D fund ever announced by the Government of India. On insurance, we are working very closely with insurance company to streamline the whole process. On export credit and MEA-led market access, we have made a beginning with the space days, such as the one that we'll have in Luxembourg, and already had one, and we'll do more. Assured minimum order procurement on the MOD model can be examined, and we announced last week a launch incentive support for companies launching from Indian soil up to 50% of the fixed cost component for small launch vehicles using Indian spaceports, and up to 30% of the launch cost for small satellite will be subsidized by InnoSpace. A direct answer to a consistent industry ask. Your voice, number 5. Procurement reform and two-way capacity building. You asked for build to spec over build to print, quality-based selection over L1 alone, a cleaner definition of NCIL's role, and two-way movement of people between government and industry. We have taken these asks on board. Some of these are very difficult to do, but we have a beginning, at least in skilling, where we have 17 in-space courses already done with over 900 people certified, an AICTE approved minor degree in space technology in 34 institutions already in place, more happening, and the model rocketry CANSET program are building the pipeline. I asked the industry to generously offer internship, hire from these programs, co-design curricula, use the resident experts that InnoSpace has, use the InnoSpace Tech Center fully. One thread that ran across every session, the chicken and egg cycle of needing a track record to win projects and needing projects to build the track record, breaking that cycle is our focus. Underpinning all of this, InnoSpace's 6 pillars: infrastructure, skilling, access to capital, capability, demand generation, and an enabling environment. Each is moving. None has finished the race, but pace is picking up and finish line is now visible. Furthermore, one very exciting outcome is the space tech has topped the first disbursement round of the government's 1 lakh crore Research Development Innovation Fund, securing over 800 crores of funding out of 2,200 crores that has been given out, the highest allocation for any sector. Dhruva Space, Agnikul, Galaxy, Astrom, Manatsu Space are among the 22 startups selected. Just imagine when an independent fund evaluating 124 proposals across the deep tech, all sunrise sectors, places space at the top. That tells you what credibility this ecosystem has earned. And on infrastructure, the small satellite launch complex, thank you. On infrastructure, the small satellite launch complex at Kulsagapatnam is being offered for private management, fully operational control to be given for 20-25 years on a lease from ISRO. This will be announced very soon. In IIC, a MOU exchange at IIC with Government of Gujarat and Government of Tamil Nadu for setting up space parks, where InSpace is providing 100 crore each for common technical infrastructure. Together, these are not incremental steps. They're structural signals that the ecosystem is graduating from hand-holding to a market that can stand on its own. Now, I have some asks from all of you to help us to help you. Number one, when we ask for information, provide it to us in a timely manner without follow-ups, just like you expect not to have to do follow-ups with us. When you submit an application, take time to provide all the information comprehensively and accurately, which will avoid going back and forth. When you approach any other department in the Government of India, keep us informed. In any case, they come back to us for our inputs and our recommendations. When you disclose, please disclose all the incidences as they happen, report experiences and mission feedback. This will just help in institutional learning for all of us. And finally, register with InSpace. If you don't, you may miss out on opportunities. Now, I want to sort of give some of my thoughts to different stakeholders who are in this room. I said this last week also, and it will be a shorter version of what I said last week. So if you heard me last week, my apologies to you. To our mature startups, you did what no one expected you to do. Now you grow from pioneers into industry builders, from product to production line, from pilot order to commercial book. But hold on to what made India's space program globally trusted, led by ISRO. Never forget the rigor and the process. Challenge the status quo. Bring agility. But the speed must never come at the cost of quality and process. Agility and reliability must travel together. To our MSMEs and legacy vendors, you are the quiet backbone of India's space story. The quality you delivered for ISRO over decades is now needed for the world. Move up from components to subsystem, to integrated modules, to full solutions. Companies like Subbarao Anand Technology are showing the way, and they are now getting to full systems. To large industry houses and new entrants. Every sector that India's great industrial houses have entered has been transformed: power, telecom, steel, renewables, electronics. Each reached a new order of a scale when the Indian industry decided to own it. Space is the next frontier. What remains is a scale that you can provide, supply chain design, and balance sheet ambition. A USD too many speeches, and not being a politician, I'm not used to giving so many speeches. The USD 44 billion space economy by 2033 will not be built by startups alone. To investors, see space not only as a frontier, but also as a long-term industrial opportunity where early conviction creates lasting value. Technology risks has fallen sharply. What remains is production scale and demand-side risk, precisely what informed patient capital is built to address. Also, look beyond launch and satellites to components, propulsion, ground infrastructure, SSA, and downstream applications in agriculture, insurance, maritime, climate, and defense. And while doing this, keep SpaceX in the back of your mind to get motivation. To academia, talent and technology are two sides of the same pipeline, and academia is its source. We need your laboratories open to startups, curricula aligned to industry, and a decisive shift towards translational research. The frontier, next generation propulsion, advanced materials, on-orbit servicing, AI, and quantum for space must be shaped by Indian institutions in space, and DOS will work that road with you. And to Indian industry as a whole, India's space sector will not be built by companies competing in isolation. It will be built by an industry that lifts itself together. This is already beginning. An Indian satellite owner choosing an Indian launch vehicle, an Indian startup sourcing from Indian MSME. That instinct must become the culture, not the exception. Invest in each other, collaborate deliberately. SIA-INDIA exists precisely to make their synergy intentional, use them. And to the global community, to our friends and partners from around the world, a direct and sincere message. India's ambition is make in India for the world. We're not building a closed ecosystem. We are building an open, capable, and trusted one. In a moment where global supply chains have been tested by geopolitical and financial turbulence, the world is looking for partners it can rely on, places to invest and build with confidence, where the rules of engagement are stable, transparent, and long-term. India offers all of that: an open, democratic, rules-based economy, deep engineering talent, a space industrial base maturing faster than almost anywhere on earth, a policy environment that welcomes foreign capital, technology, and partnership without conditions that compromise your interest or ours. So the invitation is genuine. Invest in India, build manufacturing capability here, partner with Indian companies, not for a single transaction, but for the long term. India is ready to be partner with you. We are ready to grow with the world, not apart from it. And friends, in closing, 5 years ago, much of what we know, we now take for granted, would have seemed impossible, would have seemed optimistic. Today, it is a fact. The distance to a USD 44 billion space economy is real, but so is the will, the talent, the capital, and the policy support. InSpace's commitment, as I've always said, is consistent, enabler, not gatekeeper. For every barrier you identify, we will work to remove it. For every serious opportunity you bring, we will support you. Between gatherings like this one and a government that is listening, the second stage has everything it needs to fire successfully. The capability is here, the commitment opportunity is here, the world is watching, and increasingly, the world is trusting. Let us build and build together and for the world. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Goenka, for your valuable address and for sharing your vision on India's space reforms, private sector participation, and the importance of collaboration in building a globally competitive Indian space ecosystem. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we move ahead to yet another important segment of the opening ceremony of Day 2 of India Space Congress. We begin with the launch of the India Space Industry e-Catalog, India's premier digital response repository of the space sector capabilities, featuring nearly 20 domains and over 120 subdomains. Enlisting over 200 space and defense companies, this first of its kind platform brings together verified Indian space companies on a single, authoritative, and continuously updated interface. An initiative of SIA-INDIA powered by Hughes Systic, the catalog will enable industry, government, investors, researchers, and global partners to discover capabilities and foster collaborations and accelerate growth across India's rapidly expanding space sector. I would also like to invite our representative from Hughes Systic to kindly come up on the stage as I invite Dr. Pavan Goenka to do the honors of releasing the e-catalog by clicking on the remote. And a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, dignitaries. Ladies and gentlemen, SIA India and Orbit Aid have collaborated on a landmark report, Building India's One Orbit Servicing and Refacing Ecosystem Policy Partnerships and Pathways Forward. I would request our dignitaries to kindly do the honors of releasing this report. This report examines how strategic bilateral cooperation, and may I request the representative to kindly come up, Orbit Aid. Can we have 2 more copies of the report on the stage, please? Ladies and gentlemen, the report examines how strategic bilateral cooperation, enabling policy frameworks and strong public-private partnerships can accelerate the development of India's OSAM capabilities. It presents a forward-looking roadmap to foster innovation, attract investment, strengthen international collaboration, and position India as a leading contributor to the next generation of sustainable and resilient space specifications. Thank you to our participants. We now move to the next release, that is SIA-INDIA and Take Me to Space, jointly developed report, India's strategic opportunity in space-based compute infrastructure. May I invite our representatives of Take Me to Space, if they are here, to kindly come up. This paper explores both orbital data centers and in-space computing can complement terrestrial infrastructure, address future AI and data processing demands. Thank you very much indeed for doing the honors. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to kindly propose the vote of thanks, I have the privilege in inviting Mr. Anil Prakash, Director General, SIA India. Let's put our hands together to welcome sir.
Wow, what a fantastic second day. When I say the space is the space, and it has to be, look different. And thank you very much, the audience. It was second day, his house is full. Sir, yesterday we had people, we're sorry we could not leave it to your words. In spite of all odds, the house was full of people standing behind. And today, second day, I think it's marvelous that the space is the space. So you should feel, everybody here, proud to be part of the space sector. Honorable His Excellency, Mr. Christian Beaver, thank you very much. I met him when he's just taken over the office, and his warmth and his commitment to works towards India and Luxembourg space. And he just after this, he said, okay, I'm going to Luxembourg, and I make sure that you will get a call from Luxembourg Space Agency, and it did. Thank you very much, and we had a very fruitful round of talk with Luxembourg Space Agency, and your word today for the building a cooperation with India is tremendous, sir. We'll definitely work with you. Dr. Pawan Goenka is a true guardian of the space sector. Let's give a big hand. It is unprecedented, never heard in the history of just 4 years, 5 years, where the in space, where is the India? He has seen, he has vision, he has seen that it is going that way, and we must accelerate. Sir, thank you very much. This industry has bloomed up, and I think you have really pushed, and you have really escorted them and guided them how they, today we have 400 space startups, it's the largest in the Asia Pacific pool. Let's give a big hand. And it is going more, it's going more, and appetite is growing. I think we all have to work like industry, Space Industry Association. It is our responsibility to work hand in hand with InSpace and others, policymakers and the promoters to give them what they deserve. Take them to the market, bring them to the business to them. Align all the things. I think this is what Chairman Goenka just discussed, the 2-day, what you call, I will call it as a summit of the mind, summit of the stakeholders. They gather together, and it is in space, all the senior people, even chairman, was sitting back and they were listening it and they're noting down. Tremendous. I think this all what we have said last week, and chairman has just announced it is some of them, or most of them have been implemented, and rest which is going to be aligned. Thank you, sir, for your commitment, and we work with you as I think you have already shouldered us the responsibility to work with you as a space industry. We'll work with you. So I think this is the second day, and then I said that we had last evening, we had Center for Excellence Award. We have awarded 5 person of the excellence, so that award was given. And we have SJAC, Hackathon, Young Minds, they are meeting it, and the result will be announced tomorrow. I think you have an event today also, very, very back-to-back, very impactful event, and that too tomorrow. Thank you very much for your kind presence, and we look forward to your continued. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. And ladies and gentlemen, before we close, I would once again like to bring your attention to this very important announcement. SIA-INDIA is taking space industry delegation to Space-Tide, Japan from 6th to 8th of July this year. You may kindly contact, if you are interested, the SIA-INDIA Secretariat, Mr. Ambalagan, and also you may contact at the SIA-INDIA booth outside. So ladies and gentlemen, with that we conclude Day 2 inaugural session, inviting everyone for the inauguration of the exhibition and also the tea break to follow. And post that, ladies and gentlemen, we will be dividing the halls into 2. Sovereign 2, this very place where we are standing, the track 1 will be hosted here. In the next part, which is Sovereign 1, will be track 2, and in Allure Hall, we will be organizing track 3 of our event. So ladies and gentlemen, hope to see you all soon after the tea break. Do join us in time. Thank you, enjoy your tea, and be back in time for the next sessions. Thank you.